Okay, it says you are live. Now let's just prove
I
that.
am alive. I am alive.
And thank you for talking, because that's the first question I was going to ask you, is to talk. So talk a little bit here.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear
Awesome. I
me?
can hear me, and
I
I'm
am
going.
alive.
Okay, there. It's got a little circly on it. Oh, there we go. Okay, and I'm just going to put tag you, and it'll be in your. If you're on your phone or whatever, it just says add to timeline or
No, I'm
whatever.
I'm off my phone right now,
Okay.
so I don't want to screw it up with.
Okay, there we go.
Okay,
Okay, you are tagged, and we are live.
I
So,
am alive. I am alive. Oh my god.
and Julia's ready. She got her hair all beautiful, and she looks
Oh, I
amazing.
did. Look. Oh my god, for the menzies.
So, if you hadn't figured it out, this is the beautiful Julia. Do we say Yesner?
Weiss. It's
Yesner Mize, or just
German for white. Weiss.
okay? Okay, Julia Weiss and myself, and Julie and I. She's interviewed me in the past. I've
Mhm.
been panelist on some of her stuff on Facebook on the Sology Network. I don't know if you do that anymore or whatever, but um, when I put the call out for interviews, Julia volunteered, and we were just having a big discussion about how our egos are messing with us big time right now and causing fear, and it just kind of almost tried to torpedo me and having this discussion with somebody, and I'm still buzzing about it, but the energies are so intense right now.
Calm down.
Calm. There, I'm gonna ground. Everybody on the call ground.
Ground.
We need it because I was up here a minute ago. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Julie, and then at the end I'll get you to put what your webpage and all that stuff is at the end.
Oh, I don't have a web page. I'm
Okay.
like a housewife. I'm
You're
like
a
one of you guys.
you're a Facebook DM me and I'll talk to you.
I don't actually do the Zoology Network anymore. Like that
Okay.
kind of stopped for a while because Todd like took a while off.
Yep.
He's back now, but Susan Bornstein and I still meet. We have a weekly meeting with Shauna. I forget her last name. Sorry, Shauna. We meet personally without Sue and I will get once in a while, we'll go on Facebook Live, but we haven't done that for like a while. So
Okay.
it's just me, it's just Susan and Jana from Zoology Network. And we kind of just discuss, oh, God bless you.
Thank you.
Sorts bless you. Uh, so there, it's what's really funny is we're all three Jewish women, and we're all three our parent, my mother was born in the Ukraine, which was USSR back in the day. And it's just funny. So we like discuss like all the things that are going on. And then I do light language healing and light language. And I guess you can call me intuitive, but I can't do it. I don't want, it comes and goes. I can't really do it as a living yet. Maybe I can, and my ego is just playing with me.
Okay.
But I get insights when I need to get insights, and they're deep. And sometimes I can hear in my head, when I had a few passings, and they would come mess with the lights and dreams. I get dead relatives come in my dreams and tell me stuff for people, and it's not often. And then I have galactic contact. I've seen ships really close.
Okay.
They usually come in my dreams with a message or something. Last night I had a beautiful. I just felt angels around me. I just felt my whole room lit up, and just so I'm just going to backtrack and just say I meet once a week with these women, and it's wonderful. It's like our personal time. We meditate and we share. And we had Mary Beckman on. I don't know if you know her. Like people can join us. So it's once a week, Wednesday Eastern time. It's 12:30, and so last night the energies are just whew, I I don't know if I could explain into words. I am so exhausted, and not only am I exhausted, but I live in the United States. there it is. I don't even have to go into the polarity and there's so much fear, and I'm an empath, so I can feel everybody's stuff. And my biggest thing is unity and trying to unite, because I think the powers that be, whether they're detached entities, we don't know who, whatever the negative forces that are not human. We'll get into that's another video, but they are keeping us separated so we don't move forward in the ascension process. Can't happen. We're going to move forward anyway, and we're all going. No one's going to be left behind. You're not better than anyone else because you're awake. I'm going to just take away all the spiritual, what do you call it? Spiritual dogma.
Bullshit.
And you might not like what I'm saying, but I'm all about freedom. So there's no rules and regulations in my world. So I just want to say, last night I had this feeling of angelic presence. And it could have been like the energy of Mother Mary, because I was going into a meditation during the day and asking her to feel her energy. Because sometimes I need a mother's love, because I lost my mother. She was 92. So, sometimes I need that. And, so I really felt like this wonderful feeling of lightness. And it was beautiful. I fell asleep in so much peace. And the past week, the energies were so much. And I haven't done this for a while. It's been since the pandemic. I used to have panic attacks, and it stopped. So I haven't really had them for 5 years. But I woke up like 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning. I would wake up the whole week with panic attacks, anxiety. And how I deal with that is I walk back and forth, move my arms. It's energy. It's downloads of information that are coming so fast. And so if you're experiencing that, okay, this is my job. I help people ground. So when you're getting that download, and if you really look at the download, if you have eyes to see, it's like little keys, codes, little golden keys and codes, and light language letters that you won't understand. So it goes into your DNA. And if there's too much of it, your nervous system's, so it's like, yeah, you have to excuse me. I'm a little bit of a comedian. So, so your nervous system is like shaking, right? And it's another reason why I don't drive anymore, because I would get these panic attacks in the car, because that's where they would come. They would bring all that information to me, because that's my quiet time. So when you're at your most quiet time, it's usually in the middle of the night, and you'll wake up sometimes with this download. And you could also be verbal and say, okay, you guys, I've had enough. And I usually go to, when I'm really desperate, I go to Yeshua or Jesus for his energy to remove, or my higher self and I am presence. So our angels, I'm very connected to all that. Even though I'm Jewish, so were they. And sometimes Kuan Yin and sometimes Buddha. It just depends. I can feel the energy that's there to assist me. So I know that sounds crazy, but wait till you get there, and you will. As of March 29th, when the solar flare, that's the other thing.
Okay.
So there's supposed to be good news. There's supposed to be a tremendous blue ray of energy coming in, I think, between the 18th and the 29th of March. And this is supposed to be, now some people that are not in the know, I don't like to use the word awake or not awake. I hate that, because it means separation. People are where they're supposed to be. I'm sorry. I don't try to convert anyone. I don't talk about it unless brought up. No one needs to be saved. Everybody's where they're supposed to be. Everybody has a job to do. And sometimes it's the nasty stuff. It's all one. Figure that one out. But so this energy is going to come down, and the ones that are like me or very sensitive will feel it. We might have to go to sleep for a little bit whenever there's a solar flare. That's like a usually it's an X now, but it used to be M's. Now it's like the X. That they put me to sleep for about 2-3 hours, and it's downloads of information. This is not coming from our sun. This is coming from the central sun of the universe. And by the way, they're live beings. The suns and the planets are live. Mother Earth is alive. So that energy is coming down. It's a cosmic blue light. And even NASA has said that there is a cosmic blue light, cosmic energy coming in that should hit around that time. So it's not even spiritual. There's like a science to it. And spirituality and science are now really coming together despite all the craziness. So, the differences of opinion. Truth is truth, and it's going to eventually show itself, and people will understand. So that's what this wave is doing. It's like waking people up. I hate that word, but I can't think of another word. It's like people becoming more aware of why they're here, that they're spiritual beings having a 3D experience and learning and growing, and that we're all one. And then it's really going to create where people feel happier. Mm-hmm. And some people won't feel anything at all. It's just another day at work, but they feel a little lighter, a little better. And I think it's because so many of us were in prayer for so long. Mm-hmm. And so that I think you guys, if you want to, because I never tell anybody you have to, if you want to, there's a wonderful woman, Nancy Rebecca, who I listen to, and she's on YouTube and Facebook, and she does she used to be a nurse, short gray hair, really beautiful woman, and she just has wonderful energy, and she talks about these blue beings and meditating with the blue light. So I started doing that, and it really changed my life because I feel much more relaxed in this craziness. And so, and also, I can move energy and heal different things with people. But the one thing I urge people with healing is when you go to a practitioner, you're really the one that's healing yourself. And you have tremendous healing. We all do. And that's what we're going to really go into after the spring with all these solar flares. And that's not the solar flare. It's a big one. And then we're going to have, because it never stops. We're constantly evolving and growing spiritually and eventually getting into our light bodies. I don't know how long that's going to be. Supposedly, there's going to be this 30-year shift into 5D consciousness where we're all there and we don't need governments. So I think, so a little perspective, what's going on now is we're seeing like all what's been around, I guess, for a couple hundred years, it's dissolving. And all the governments in all the world, right now, the big emphasis is the United States because we're so big, we're such a big influencer, but it's pretty much a lot of nations are going through this fight between democracy and fascism and a mix of the two, and everybody's against or for. It's like a 50-50 split. It's really crazy. It's really a 50-50 split in every country. And it's like, that's the duality. And people always said, teachers that I was listening to in the past, it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse before it gets better. And I'm like, how can it get worse? And it's getting pretty bad. Like it's war is being threatened. The nuclear stuff is coming back with all.
But that's all the illusion of. And
it's all the illusion, right? Well, it's happening, but my perspective is, I have my opinions and they're pretty strong, but it's not my job to convince someone else to believe what I believe.
Well, ultimately what I hear you're saying is the collective reality program that's kept us in control and suppression
Right.
is being challenged with all this light that's coming in, solar flashes
Yep.
and all these things, to basically bring the truth out, because that's what light does. It basically shines into the shadow and it exposes the root underneath, which may be these players that
And
are
I
not
was
really helping.
hoping,
Go ahead.
yeah. And I was hoping that someone like Marion, what's her name? Marion Anderson?
Williamson.
Marion Williamson, somebody like us would come in and be nice and gentle, and it almost happened. She was actually there, but somebody else came. I'm not going to mention names, but we know who it is. Came in like a bull in the china shop and created more division. See, she was trying to unite everybody and not talk bad about the others, and we have the opposite. So,
But the field doesn't want that. The field wants a struggle that's going to happen to people. It
the
doesn't want to
field
just
wants,
touch on
yeah,
the forehead.
negative, positive. You hate him, you love him. And what I found is like he was just in my head all the time,
Mm-hmm.
like all the negative stuff. And I finally, like, I just don't want it anymore. I'm not going to watch. I'm going to try to,
But that was on purpose. It was poking you so much, and it's poking most
well,
people.
it's triggers. And
Exactly. For you to heal, till you see yourself.
yeah, well, to not take a side. Well, we have our belief systems. We still have, there's ways that I would do things differently.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like not looking at the people that feel that that's a good way of doing things, that they're evil or they're bad, or looking at any party being bad or good. That was the biggest lie.
Yeah.
When all the conspiracy theories started to really take hold, and everybody was like the us and them thing, and the Democrats, Republicans, the dark, the light. And then I realized you can't unite. I saw this movie and it was so beautiful. You got to see this movie if you would like. There's a movie called The Dark Crystal. Do you know it?
I've heard of it. It's a long time ago. I watched it. Like
Oh, it's a
fantasy, isn't it?
beautiful movie. It's
Yeah.
actually a kids movie, and it's got those little puppets. Or it's really beautiful how they did it.
Okay.
But it's these very evil creatures and these very good creatures.
Yeah.
And the whole land, and there's a crystal involved, and there's, anyway. But spoiler alert, at the very end, after all this fighting, and anyway, they merge
Mm-hmm.
and become one new being in balance. So we're looking at those that are, it's like, you know what it's like? It's like narcissist, okay, an extreme narcissist, an
Mm-hmm.
extreme empath. I've always been an extreme empath with narcissist tendencies, which we all have. We all have duality, but it's like all of a sudden they come together and merge, and you have a balanced human being, a human being that stands up for themselves, but is loving and knows how to do it correctly. And
But
doesn't,
it's key to note balance requires dark and light. It's not like I'm a
exactly.
really good person.
Yeah.
No, you got to
Yeah.
be in your power and anger and have all those things and be balanced in the middle and be accountable. That's a full human being.
I knew I was healing and I heal through meditation, and I just give it to God. I'm mad, I'm upset, I give it to God. I spend like an hour to 2 hours in the morning because I don't work. So I'm verbal. I don't do a lot of quiet meditation. I'm more verbal with my prayers and what I'm asking for. And then I bring in the Yeshua's energy to clear the chakras and everything, clear my body, heal my body and my mind, my soul. And I was doing purging, and then I realized I don't think we need to do that anymore.
Right.
What we need to do is embrace the dark and the light of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I love little Julie that used to cry and used to have tantrums because nobody paid attention to me.
Mm-hmm.
I love that little girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to tell her I love her and that I'll pay attention to you. Mm-hmm. And So, I know that's kind of simplistic, but if you think about it, there's a time and place for everything. We were doing a lot of inner work, and there was a time where I did so much inner work, I couldn't feel for a whole month.
Wow.
And I was scared because if you've ever like lost your emotions, it's scary. And it's like, I didn't even want to be here anymore. And then I realized, you know what that taught me? Beings, evil beings that reincarnate and get lost in the reincarnate process, they're not reincarnated again. They're like
Entities.
entities that were, I guess, human souls at one time, or galactic souls that got so separated from source that
They're not part of
couldn't
the
come
light
back.
anymore. They're in the
And
shadow.
they will come back. We're going back for everyone's going to move forward.
Yeah.
And that's why I came back. Because the other person I like to listen to is Patricia Cobo Robles, and she's a wonderful era of peace, eraofpeace.org. And I just bought a book of hers, and it goes into detail about how the universe was created, how the chakra system was created, light and dark. And it matched to what my downloads were about the evil entities that mess with us and cause the division and cause the illusion. But they were so separated from God, and also fear to move on because they believed in a hell. They believe that they're going to be punished for the rest of their lives, or they have no emotion and they want to feel that emotion. So they attach to you because if they feel emotion, they're alive. So I kind of felt sorry for them because I felt all of a sudden, I realized, I'm like, and it was only for a month, and then it went away and the emotions came back. And then I realized it was part of the purging process. And I would ask, what is it I need to heal today? And then I started thinking, like, I am so tired of purging, and I just want to love myself the way I am. We're always constantly trying to lose weight. We're always we're always trying to be something we're not. In the now moment, do I love myself and accept myself the way I am? Because that's the way God looks at me. He doesn't look at me and say, oh, you have a wrinkle there and you have a little cellulite over there. No, it's like, I love you. Thank you for coming to the planet Earth and healing people. And even just your energy, like I'm exhausted all the time and I go through a lot of physical tired, a lot of stuff. And yet I'm perfectly healthy. Like my numbers are perfectly healthy, but it's how the energy is. We all have different systems, how we deal with we call them ascension symptoms, how aches and pains. And I make it a fever real fast and it goes away. Other people, it's longer, but when these waves come in.
So I'm just going to ask you to, we kind of go all over the place and then we go down hills and valleys or whatever. So you're saying that we no longer need to purge and the new way is to love ourselves is what I'm hearing.
Well, I'm not going to say for everybody else. I'm going to say for myself.
And then you basically said the new spirituality. So what would you say the new spirituality is that people have the opportunity to take on or not take on?
Well, they have the opportunity to love themselves the way they are and stop trying to change or think that they're not spiritual enough. Like I combine my 3D and my 5D. I feel like I have source with me all the time. And that's because of my morning practice. Right. You could walk, some people walk outside. My husband goes outside and walks for like an hour. He chants. He has a Buddhist practice.
Yeah.
I used to do chanting with him. That's how we met, and through going to Buddhist meetings. But I find that meditation and prayer I can just connect with the energies right away. Also, when I chant, I tend to leave my
So
body.
other people have these abilities as well. And I want to
Everybody.
reflect back, because you at the beginning had said, I'm nothing and I'm not connected and I'm not special or whatever, but you're talking about being connected to God and having this connection with God, which is the normal person. Everybody has this power,
Everybody.
including you, and you're talking about it deeply. I talk to God and I have these meditations and I go for a walk for nature. These are all choices that people can make to make these connections back to source
They can make the
themselves.
connection, and they don't have to feel there's no like rules or regulations like most religions. Spirituality is an individual process. So
Mm-hmm.
we're at all different levels.
Mm-hmm.
But what I tell people is don't look outside yourself to a teacher, guru, political person, whatever, to be your savior, or you've got it. You've got it. Just ask God and your guides. Everybody has guides, angel
Well, even
guides.
if you don't have God or guides or whatever, or when God's and guide comes in my head, it's in my voice. So for the longest time, I said, "There's something wrong here. I'm not hearing God," and all this kind of stuff. The only voice I know in my head is mine, and it's me. And if you ask, well, what's going on here right now? Well, earlier today, it was like, what's going on here? Why did this thing get all screwed up and our time got all changed and all this kind of stuff? And it's like, you weren't ready. And I'm like, what the fuck do you mean I'm not ready or whatever? Well, a part of me couldn't have that meeting with that person. So my ego was protecting me. It was trying to stop me from going big fast, which it's trying to protect me and saying, hey, you can't do that. So it changed the date in the calendar and overlapped with your date, and I didn't even know it. And then I'm struggling to please everybody, and nobody won, and it canceled the meeting, and we ended up having this meeting after all. It was just so
That's,
demented.
yeah, that happens to me a lot because I'm always in my head with too many things. But it's the simplest thing is the answer. But like it doesn't mean what I'm saying. It doesn't mean that if you had a trauma, not to look at it. I mean, everybody has specific traumas that some people. I was at a meet. I was at like a meeting the other day on Zoom. Oh my God, some of these people had such horrible childhoods, and I'm like, where my mother didn't always say I love you or look at me, but I had a very comfortable life, compared to these people that were really abused. And I'm like, wow. And it just takes your perspective, like, I'm complaining about these silly little things, and but there is trauma you have to deal with. I'm not saying look away from the
Everybody has
trauma.
one.
There are things you need to deal with, but you don't constantly go into it. You go through whatever healing you need to go. If you need another practitioner to heal you, or you go through that process, but eventually got to let it go. We're like millions and billions of years old. Do you know how much trauma we have from every lifetime?
Well, we're a
So I
collection
do.
of all of our parents and lineage traumas as well, and all their shit.
Well, I
It's not.
do a lineage clearing. Yeah, I have done that. But you just give it to God, like whatever it is. I bring the violet flame in every day, and I just give it to God in general. I'm not looking at every single little thing, and I'm always at the end embracing myself, whatever it is I need to embrace. So I do my clearing, my healing, my manifesting, and thanking, being grateful. And every day to me is a miracle, and it was funny because 20 years ago, I knew these times would happen. I knew, I said, I just knew it. I just felt the early 20s were going to be a little rough, but it would probably be like the Bible, the book of Revelation talks about these times, but it's more of a metaphor, and prophecy changes. So it's not exact, but a lot of it is very similar. But again, what I'm talking about is not, you can have opinions and you can have different religious or spiritual ideas, but you don't have to like look at the other person and say, oh, well, you're not awake because you don't believe this or that, or be triggered by someone else. So it's like, right now, I can look at a certain person, which is not going to be named, and they don't trigger me anymore. I still have my belief systems about that person or about a situation, but I'm not triggered, and they're not in my thoughts. Like I'm busy
You've
being,
grown, you've
bringing
shifted.
God's spirit down, and they want you separated so you don't unite and move forward. And I think that's why there's natural disasters happening, because it brings everybody together.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, it's very funny. I had a family meeting the other day, and it was funny because we all had different opinions. And I saw there's an energy, and I saw it taking over and I finally just, isn't the food delicious? Like, let's get away. And it's just very funny because, and I saw it, and a few of us, I think Martin McNichol, remember him? He's from Zoology. He's from, I think, Scotland or Ireland, and he lives in Portugal. But when the whole, I think it was like the first one, 2016, when everybody was going, there was all this negative, people were starting to post about politics that were spiritual. Like all of a sudden, I saw it as a dark gray, horrible energy, and he saw it the same way. And I see it today because we got a little bit of a break. And then all of a sudden it's back again because there's no control. There's no, like, people are just saying whatever it is they want to say now. There's no, fact checking or anything. So, but I find it, the first thing God said to me, or my higher self, my I am presence, said, you have very strong political beliefs. Don't post them because you're going to get 80 people. And I didn't for a while. I posted one thing. I had 80 people yelling at each other. And I said, oh, yeah. So, if you want unity, no matter what, if you want unity, you got to let your ego go. And, I don't post a lot of this stuff that I believe.
So why is that? What is that about politics?
Well, it's the one thing. Well, first of all, nothing works for us anymore. Those systems don't work. I see councils.
They're designed to separate us, and that's why exactly it puts the liberals and conservatives and Republicans and Democrats.
We were when we signed the Constitution, it was, they were thinking of doing a king, without and then they figured a president, but they still have parties. And what they should have done is not have parties at all, but councils. But it's a growing process. See, that's the 3D. You got to grow. You have the Middle Ages. Things were pretty nasty, and they're better now because everybody showers, and uses underarm deodorant. So we're a lot better than we were, and most women, survive. There's still a lot of births that people die in, but, things have gotten a lot better from 2,000 years ago. But it's a system that is so I see. So it's seeing the bigger picture. Yeah, I get it now. Everything's going to be knocked down. They need a person that's nasty to knock it down. I still feel there could be been a better way, but whatever. It is what it is. So and then
why is this all happening? Because we're kind of go on a topic and
I know. I'm sorry. My head's scattered.
Well, that's what I'm here to help ground us to.
Well, we're going to see a little bit more destruction, and then we're going to rebuild in more of a 5D, because eventually we don't really need governments. But right now I see, the process is committees and councils.
Okay.
Led by younger people with great ideas, starseeds, that have these great ideas, and they include why should 50% of the people of a country be miserable every election? Why? Why can't we all be happy? So maybe like revolving councils where, every couple of years we revolve, anybody who wants to come in could sign up. Maybe we don't need elections. I don't know. Now the Palladians, some of the guys up there, they have different systems. Maybe I've been really asking for us to be downloaded with the correct information for divine government. So I don't know what that looks like. We never had it before.
I see a lot of elders involved in that. The
elders
young people bring in,
young people.
But you need the wisdom and to be able to take us out of the shit that we're in now. We need people that have been through it all, inciting new ideas, maybe with the young people, but at the same time, the elders are saying, no, we went down that path and it hurt us.
I really see myself in that role, in a council, in community. And I think we can create a lot of communities. And I also feel I think once we get that free energy, and I know we're going to get it, the downloads for that, it's going to really free everybody up. And when you don't, everything costs money because of the cost to produce. So what if we don't have to deal with, or electric is so low, it doesn't really, the cost of producing is like minimal. So everything is new. Everything
is all business, right? Business. And I consider that busyness. It's just chasing around trying to please people. They're actually talking about replicators that using energy can make any product. And you won't have to have a manufacturing plant in Taiwan or Asia or something. You'll just say, I want a new pair of Nike sneakers, and it'll show up. Like, that's powerful.
Yeah, so all these things are changing. And I think also there's going to be tremendous scientific breakthroughs because of this Blu-ray that comes in. There's going to be a lot of health, science, and people that never understood, like me, who never understood algebra or science, are going to suddenly understand quantum physics and how things work. It's just going to be natural. Yeah. And the happiness, the yummy stuff, like the happiness and the joy of just being alive and loving yourself. Isn't that the biggest lesson? Is loving yourself unconditionally. Because if you love yourself unconditionally, it breaks the ego. So like I posted something, I probably shouldn't have posted it, but I posted something and I got 2 negative responses. And I just, oh, well, I didn't have to keep going in there and that's, the difference is your ego. And people take things personally that they don't need to take personally. And that's religion, politics, whatever. Knowing,
So what's your definition of the ego? Just so that we can.
I don't think it's bad. A lot of people think it's bad. It's not bad.
So what is it?
It's there to help us survive. So, would
you say it's our protector?
It's more like a protector, but it can work against us too, because it can keep us, like me, from doing more videos because I'm so shy. Believe it or not, and stepping
trying to protect you because you maybe got hurt in the past, then that's where the shyness came from. Your heart got injured, so it's like, no, you're not going to do that. Stop, or makes fear, which protects you, but it also
there's a lot of fear of a lot of things, which I have like a travel anxiety, which I've kind of gotten over, and so there's a lot. I'm really asking to just go through the, the nervous system to get rid of if you get rid of the anxiety and fear, you can just keep creating. And because what I would like to do is just to be to contribute to others in fun and exciting ways. And, it's, it doesn't have to be like, a burden, like if you want to help someone or heal someone. And maybe it's not that, maybe it's something else. Maybe I'll teach little children in a new community, which I would love to do.
Beautiful. And if it's from love and it's from passion and it's from excitement, it's going to be something you're going to draw right in, because when you're starting to create from your self-love, it will create more love.
So that's like my whole thing is unity. I try to bring that in. So I had to learn how to be united, even though there's a million different opinions, a million different cultures, and to look at the other person as an aspect of God.
Mm-hmm.
Even the most evil of us is an
Mm-hmm.
aspect of God.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have to invite them to my house, but if I want things to change, it starts here.
Mm-hmm.
So, my biggest gift for today would be just have your practice, whatever it is, whatever you're comfortable with ever the word God you're comfortable with or ascended master, or and just ask to your higher self in your I am presence, to love yourself unconditionally, no matter what. And how can I be, I wouldn't say service, I don't like that word. How can I contribute to the collective in a positive way today?
Mm-hmm.
And you could for 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be 2 hours. See, when I go into it, 2 hours goes by like a second. Like I can't even, so.
Essentially, I'm going to collect a whole bunch of things you said. I think we need to find community of like-minded people that can help keep us grounded, can suggest to us. I'm building some of that community right now. I put a Facebook Live up and I basically said, anybody who wants to come and be part of a spiritual community, DM me and we'll have a StreamYard. This is it. And I can bring 30 people on and we can do a collective circle anywhere in the world and start talking about this stuff. And if somebody can reflect from you, I have these 5 principles: self-responsibility, no victimness. It's all growing
That's
me,
right.
not hurting me. The second one is accountability. What do you do when you're triggered and you feel uncomfortable or feel energies? Third one is be vulnerable, be truthful. I was raped, or I was this, or I was that, or whatever. Talk about it. And then you're going to find other people that have the same experience and you can band together with them and little sub communities are created and you can support each other out of your wound to healing. Next one is directness. What do you talk about? Do you beat around the bush and say, hey, honey, I'd like to spend some time with you, or whatever, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, or whatever? No, you have a community and say, hey, you're very sexually attractive and this is something that I'm interested in. Would you be interested in that as well? Instead of the, what are we going, or whatever. Not like, honey, let's go have some fun in the back of my seat or whatever. But
Oh my goodness, Paul.
no, but the directness, the indirectness, and the beating around the bush, and the games, and dress provocatively and as a woman, or put good strong cologne on as a man, and I gotta dress or whatever. Instead, have a community where you can ask people for what you want, and it doesn't have. I'm talking some of the extremes here or whatever, but it's like, hey, I'd like you to cook me supper because you make really good brownies, and I love brownies, and you brought it to the last
Dating thing is also a
a big
program.
mess.
The games, the little games people play.
Without directness, we don't know what the other person wants. And without
people are
afraid.
Agreements. People are afraid of rejection. That's where the games come in.
Absolutely. But I will tell you, your best teacher is rejection. It tells you a lot about yourself. It's like, oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I'm not whatever. Maybe they weren't the right person. But we'll make this whole complex and story and we'll be curled up like this because nobody loves me or whatever, because 1 or 2 or 3 people happened and now we believe it. This is the stuff we're breaking out of. That's the old collective program, the old story. When we're grounded, when we're in community, you can ask that person that you wanted and you got rejected from, you can ask your best friend, does she like me or not? Well, she really likes you, but you keep acting weird, or you keep getting angry or whatever, and she's scared to even approach you, so she rejected you because you got some more work to do. Oh, thank you. I'll go work on that part of myself, and maybe I'll ask again later when I'm feeling better. This is what community will do for us. It gives us pure mirrors. It gives us reflections so that we can start to see our shadow and we can get out of our wound, we can get out of our story, and we can grow again. But we don't have those. That used to be church communities. Now it's with CV and that stuff. It got smashed. Go ahead.
I have a community across the street. I have a mall across the street, and there's a center there,
Okay.
a healing center, and they have a lot of meetings on the weekends and stuff. So, and it's funny because we had met on a spiritual discussion, and the last thing I wanted to talk about was taking on everything is there's the spiritual concept of, okay, we're all connected, which we are, but everything's happening because of me.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean you have to take on everything that's happening. And so I was at this meeting and I was expressing the anxiety I was having every night, and to different people, and they were different, 5 or 6 different people from different places I've been, said to me, you know what, you're taking on too much responsibility. It's not your fault that war is happening in Israel, and you're praying for all these things and you're feeling it all. So you need to get back to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
To doesn't mean I can't pray for something quickly, and but it's not my things are see how the light changes. That's when I'm correct. My
Well,
God,
your camera zooms in all by itself. It's really cool.
yeah, I got all kinds of angels in my computer. What? She's so crazy. My family's going to see this, and my friends from high school. This girl's nuts.
You're not crazy.
Hey, I'm happy. I'm so happy. I love being this way. But anyway, it's like, so I was taking on too much responsibility, and I'm like, yes, I'm connected to everything, but that doesn't mean I have to take it on.
Yeah.
So, I pray for the most benevolent outcome for everything that goes on,
Right.
but I need to pray for, like, I need X, Y, and Z in my life, money for this, my friend to heal, like my circle. Right. I'm only responsible for this, my circle.
Yeah. Can I make a reflection for you that I found from my own doing that? I learned I was actually hurting people by modifying their outcomes, thinking that their outcome needed to be different than it actually was happening. So the war in the Ukraine, yeah, we can say, let's end that war in the Ukraine. Well, that may be putting pressure on the Ukrainian people, maybe putting pressure on the Russian people. It may be creating a bunch of division. We are not so powerful to know what the truth of a dark is really for the world. It might be the lightest light. That's what I found, is the darkest dark, the hardest situations are actually having an impact, which is healing and evolving us.
That's why you pray for the most benevolent outcome, because you're not telling the universe this, that, and the other thing. You're leaving it up to the universe for the highest good.
So why even get involved is my question mark.
Because I'm a Jewish mother and everything's my fault.
No, I'm so guilty. But I hear you.
I X that, but that was just,
But it's true. It's
but yeah, that's part of the learning process of being spiritual. It's like everything's a step. In other words,
happening for a reason.
Like, I pushed back. I was doing a lot of meditation, and now I'm going back into the 3D world because I got my armor. So now, I'm seeing my friends. I'm going out. I'm hanging out at the bar with the ladies. I'm having a good time. And it's like, but I needed that time to step back for a little bit after COVID, because it just, messes with your head, all that stuff,
But your interviews were helping and fixing and solving, which a lot of us were. And now you're choosing to observe.
I also do protection prayers because I never got into the conspiracy theories. Yes, we have a matrix. Yes. And the matrix, I got news for you. It's not negative. It's 3D matrix. And so we're creating a new matrix. Yeah. But it doesn't mean the old one was bad. It was what we needed. Every lesson we needed to learn, every experience we needed to experience.
So could we call the matrix, or the 3D matrix, our collective reality that was spawned from a whole bunch of influences that are no longer serving us, and we're creating a new one? That's what 5D is going to be.
And we're going to have more contact with our friends from our galactic friends. That's
other cultures, other stuff out there. Yeah. So,
and a lot of people are coming alive because a lot of people have been contacting me about searching for their spirituality because of everything that's going on. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's going on. So more and more people can, we can go over that line. So we move from 3 to 5D. So we ascend into this better place. So
we're making a shift. Isn't that what all your downloads are about? Is we're making a shift, let go of outcomes, let go of fixing or helping people.
It's easier when
grounding.
you do.
Oh, it'll make your life simple, because if you're carrying the war in Russia or the Ukraine and what the T-Man is doing and all this kind of stuff, and you're railing and putting all your energy to it, you told me before we came on, stop being a victim to all this shit, because that's what we are. It's like, I don't like what he does. He's awful, or she's awful. This is awful. What about Epstein? What about blah? We're lost in the movie, because the movie's about us. And the only person that's going to set your reality, and the only person that puts a box around you, is you. And when you start believing what they tell on the TV and what all this stuff is, like, I'm in Canada and I could be worried about being the 51st state and blah, 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 blah. It makes you insane. And then you get pissed off. It's like, oh, I didn't do that.
How dare you? I'm going to take all the Johnny Walkers off the shelf.
Well, watch on YouTube. This will blow your mind. There's a video on there called Canada the Illusion. And it actually proves that all the laws that created our Constitution and all this kind of stuff weren't fully completed. So Canada doesn't even really exist legally. And they confirmed it with a whole bunch of, it was like a bunch of corporate double talk and stuff. And it's like, we'll post this 3 times, and they only posted it once.
Eventually there'll be no more borders. We're all going to be one beautiful.
Well, they talk about kingdoms of North America, kingdoms of South America, and whether or not that guy's our king. Like you said, it's a bunch of councils and leaders. And I will tell you right now, leadership will be the most transparent, anal microscope analyzing of anybody that's going to step into a leadership
position. Also telepathy. Nobody will be able to hide anything because we can see it.
And you'll have to be wide open about your money and where you're getting money and what you believe and what your claims are. And you won't be able to get elected on XYZ and then not do XYZ, do ABC instead, because people will hold you accountable. There is no accountability in any of this stuff. The whole political system was actually to put the control is on both of them and to put them against each other. So we're all fighting, and then one's going to win, but nobody actually wins because neither side is really representing anyone.
But also I think also the Bible talks about like the rich and the poor, and here it goes, like, boom, it becomes equal. So that I also see.
Well, there never was, like, when you have $600 trillion and you're one man, you could have anything on this planet. Why do you need $600 trillion? Why does the Vatican need any money at all? Why? I'm Catholic. It's like, oh, mission to Mexico. Let's build our church. And
that's another video. Let's open up that library and see all the stuff they have.
Absolutely. It's all, the Pope is not what he says he is, and he knows way more than he does. And there's actually proof and evidence that says it's a lot darker than we actually believe. But this is our religion. This is our leader. I grew up Catholic, but I don't believe in any of it anymore. I couldn't have a divorce in the church because I was bad, but I wasn't loving myself. I was going to die. So I had to be shunned, and I had to lose all my friends and leave the church and all this kind of stuff because they don't support that kind of thing. But millions of people are doing it on this planet right now. It's just shame.
Well, the energy is in our favor, and it's coming in. And if you feel a little dizzy or tired, especially on the 18th to the 29th of March, just say, bring it on.
Well, and take a nap, like you said, when we're
do what your body says to do. I do frequently take 3 o'clock in the afternoon naps. And
me too.
The best thing to do is to drink a lot of pure water, eat pure food if you can. I do eat meat, but I try to get the highest quality, grass-fed, all that stuff.
All I eat is meat. I'm a carnivore.
Yeah, I'm pretty much trying to get off carbs. But everybody's different.
Everybody is. It's healed everything in my body. All my diseases like diabetes and stroke and all this kind of shit they were trying to put at me is all cleared. My blood sugar is locked. I don't have to do insulin.
To get rid of like any implants that I have, things that are caused, and little like bumps that were sticking out on my skin since I was like 10 are gone.
Yep.
And like, it's just like, I thought they were calcium deposits or whatever, and they just like fell. And the skin doctor wouldn't take them off because you'll have a score. There's no score.
Well, they're all energetic implants or things that are holding on. And basically, as we get pure with ourselves and love ourselves, everything changes. And meat is the most grounding thing you can ever have. Why do you think they're making all this fake meat and build it out of poop and all this kind of shit?
I almost threw up. I had the lab created stuff to taste it.
Yeah.
I almost threw up. I couldn't.
I don't blame you.
I don't want anything from a lab.
I read something yesterday. They even liquefy people and feed it to animals and all this kind of stuff. It's they call it water cremation, but it's like all your cells and all this kind of stuff are being fed. But we can go way down a whole bunch of conspiracy theories, which I don't want to. But some of our most popular eating restaurants have food that is created with stuff put into it that we don't even know what it is, and it's pretty sad.
Hopefully that's the one thing that I think they're working on now is getting rid of all the false ingredients, because I think Europe, they don't do any genetic engineering, and their wheat is like supposedly, like if you have that celiac disease, it's okay to the Italian wheat, they won't allow anything.
Well, in there. You know why that is? Monsanto in the US created this engineered wheat that's only this high, so it's easier and it's supposed to save the world, but they made it so that you can spray Roundup, which is the most poisonous thing you can ever do, right on the wheat, and it'll kill all the weeds, but it goes into the what do you call it, the gluten, and basically that Roundup goes into your body and it poisons you. That's what celiac disease is. And all these children
apparently marigolds planted in between rows takes care of all the insects.
That's the healthy way.
My garden, I never had any problems. I'm too tired now to garden, but I used to use the marigolds, and there's the old way of doing things is probably the best way as far as herbs, spices, gardening.
And that's where the elders know. Absolutely. So we're coming up on our hour here.
Really?
Can you tell us a little bit about how people could reach you, and if they want to work with you, what kind of stuff you can do with them?
Well, I don't have a website, and I don't really have a paid practice right now, but I am on Facebook, and that's Julia Yesner, Yesner, Weiss, Weiss.
And I've got you tagged in here. It's at Julia,
that's
so they can
Facebook
click on it.
Page. You can. I usually post like cute animal stuff and funny. I want to make people laugh, so I usually post funny things or say funny things. Occasionally, I may come out with something, and I do share some of the things that I listen to that are inspiring, like Nancy Rebecca. Pam Gregory is another one. But I take bits and pieces. I don't believe everything. I just take the bits and pieces that I resonate with. I also, Amanda Lawrence from England, she was my biggest, I followed, I was up at 6 a.m. when everybody was doing the tour stuff at the solstices. I was up doing the meditation.
She lives right there, and she's going up on the hill, and they're smoking like the sage and all this stuff. It's beautiful. I've watched many of those.
But I don't put them like they're better than me, because there's, it's just, I listen to different people, different times, and some people don't resonate anymore.
Can I make a suggestion for you?
Yes.
I would love to see you start doing some of your own lives, talking about these topics in the moment when it shows up, because I've learned I used to hide it and worry about what my family thought.
I'm getting my new cell phone. My old cell phone doesn't do lives. For some reason, a lot of the apps don't work really well. I do get Facebook and Messenger, but I don't.
You said it was an iPhone 6, so no wonder.
Yeah, I'm getting the 15, and it has a better camera. It's bigger. And so we'll see. I do get a little nervous and I'm a woman. I'm always worried how I look, like my hair. Nobody cares.
You look fine. You've always looked fine. I wouldn't worry about it for a second.
Thank you very much. It's something to think about. Maybe Susan, I like to get on with other people. And I think Susan Bornstein and I and Jana should probably do some lives. Yeah. It'd be fun.
Beautiful. Well, like I said, use StreamYard. This is it. All you need is a free account, and you can join up to, I think, 300 people on if you want.
Well, I want to thank you very much for having me on. We interviewed you. We knew each other a while back, different interviews.
Yeah.
We've been through it, Paul.
We have.
Yeah.
And you got the scars to show it, and you can still laugh.
Well, thank you very much.
I thank you, and I thank anybody that's listening.
Thanks, everybody, for coming in.
We just got a comment from Zana Kozar. We'll catch from the beginning, but that was the only comment so far. Thank you for everybody listening, and yeah, thank you, Julia, and I appreciate your insights. And sorry if I discombobulated you or whatever. I'm trying to pull it into a message.
There was so much to talk about. I didn't even know where to begin.
I hear you. We found it, and if you find a topic that's specific, we can do another one in the future. We'll see.
Sounds great. You take care.
Thank you all. Have a good day. Just hold on. You don't have to hit end. I'm just going to end the stream.
Okay.
Then we can talk for 1 second here. End stream.